No sound. Mm.
Eric, Eric, can you hear the music on this? Can you hear the music on the video?
I
You
can.
can hear the music. All right. Now, just to get us going here, if you don't mind, we're going to go ahead right now and put it on Facebook Live. So Rachel's going to pop in here. Come in. I just let somebody in. You have a guest coming in?
No, I don't. Rachel, I don't know what I did, but I can't hear them. I think it's on my end. I don't know how to adjust the volume on my computer.
All right, one moment while we are working on the Facebook Live. Can you hear me? We seem to be having a, okay, terrific. Well, I want to, and hey, Kelly, welcome. Good to see you. Good, we've got Marcy here now. Thank you. And Lynn, great to see you. So you know you're in for a great treat with Eric Francis. And we're going to introduce him and show a video on Eric here in just one moment. But while we do, and I think we're still screen sharing. Come in.
Hi, we're with Providence House. We're coming to pick up our things.
Come in. The door's unlocked. We are like a one-man band right now. Doors ringing, phones ringing, 3 different Zooms happening in the office. This is a pretty dynamic night. We have a theater production in the area. So just to let you all know, it's not like we're just sitting around having a bonbon. There's lots happening, so bear with us. But as we talk about Eric here in just one moment, I want to make sure before we start the class itself that you all know that lots is happening in this wonderful, really we're down to now about 5 weeks left, but 10 sessions from the HBCU homecoming of alumni artists from Grambling State University and Southern University Shreveport. And you're in, of course, the residency with Eric Francis, but I do want to tell you all that coming up this Monday night, you're going to want to add a night on of your work and see Kababi Bayak, who is a Grambling State University graduate working out of St. Louis right now. He is a phenomenal portrait artist, as Eric is, but a little bit more to the cartooning or caricature side instead of realism. And a lot of his art has become murals all throughout Chicago and really the United States. He's an incredible entrepreneur with different, he's represented in 5 different galleries. And Kababi's work is extremely large scale, and he'll be talking about his technique, but also really focusing a bit on what it means to be an entrepreneur as an artist and talking about the various ways that his art form has become prints and t-shirts and murals and note cards and gallery work. And so you'll really want to see Kababi's work. He has a great website if you want to check it out beforehand. But again, this is all free, and he'll be doing a 3-hour master class this Monday, September the 21st. Zoom in at 6 p.m. until 9 p.m. and he'll be doing a great session. Then right back to Tuesday, September the 22nd, when Eric will be continuing on with his portraiture series. And I just want to remind everybody that on October the 23rd, that's Friday night, you're going to see Eric's exhibition of the work of the alumni visual artists from Grambling and Southern University. And that exhibition is a public exhibition. We will show it virtually, but we'll still have an opening night on Friday, October the 23rd. So let me now tune up Eric's introductory. What did I miss? All righty.
And then
Yep.
click optimize screen sharing for video clip
Mm-hmm.
and share.
Okey-doke.
And welcome to the HBCU Homecoming 2020 SUZLA GSU Artist Reunion Zoom Masterclass Series Visual Arts Workshop. Sponsors for the event: the National Endowment of the Arts, AT&T, the Shreveport Regional Arts Council, the City of Shreveport, and the Carolyn W. and Charles T. Beard Family Foundation. Tonight's featured resident artist is Eric Francis, a contemporary realist acrylic painter, teacher, and videographer. He was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York by his Haitian parents, along with his 6 brothers and sisters. His love for art advanced at Southern University Shreveport under the teachings of the late Roosevelt Daniels, where he went on to receive an associate's degree in general studies. Mr. Francis continued his education at Centenary College and received a bachelor's degree in studio painting. The major subjects in his work of arts are portraits, floor paintings, and still lives. He also creates videos documenting the process. His artwork can be found in many private collections. He was part of the artist team that painted the mega mural located in the downtown section of Shreveport. Tonight's featured resident artist is Eric Francis. Good evening.
Boy, I love that intro. Hello, everybody. Of course, I'm Eric Francis, and today we're going to be blending. Well, our schedule got a little bit twisty-turvy, but we're going to concentrate on blending today. So now let's get right into it. Let's just jump right into what we're going to be doing today. And I'm going to show you some pictures. So first, I hope everybody has an 8x10 canvas. Can everybody hear me okay? Can everybody hear me okay? Good. Okay, great, great. So we're going to start off with an 8x10 canvas, and don't worry about the circle for now, but you're going to draw a line through the canvas. So I have my canvas right here, and you just got to make sure you leave enough room for the circle. So I'm going to use a plate to make a circle, but we're not going to, you don't have to worry about the circle. Just worry about making a line about, say about the third of the height of the canvas. Going straight across. Now, if you have a ruler, it'd be nice if you had a ruler to measure it. Make a straight line, but that's okay. You're just gonna draw a line across the top of your canvas. All right. So our next step, let's see, where are we? All right, technical difficulties. It's okay. So you're gonna be drawing a line across the canvas, and we're gonna be mixing some colors. Here we go. These are the colors that we're gonna be using. So color number 1 is 1 part burnt umber and 1 part burnt sienna. Color number 2 is 1 part burnt sienna and 1 part Naples yellow. I see we got a few new people joining us today. Hello, everybody. We got Arden. And I see we got Lynn. Hey, Lynn. It's good to see y'all. But the first color is 1 part burnt umber. And the second color is 1 part burnt sienna. Okay, this is not showing. Oh, here we go. All righty. Let me put the colors back up on the screen. Let me know when you've mixed your colors. That's not it. Here we go. You know what? I haven't mixed my colors either, so let me do that. And you don't have to worry about mixing that much paint, because we're painting such a small area, you won't need that much paint, you know. My general rule is you can always make more paint, but you can't put more paint back in the tube if you put too much on your canvas, you know. I'm so frugal when it comes to painting. I do not like to waste paint at all. And I think partially my style developed because I was a broke artist, you know. I didn't have that much money to buy paint, so I used to use it so thin. I had to spread it out as much as possible, you know. These are my days in Chicago. I lived in Chicago for many years, many years. It was a great time, great time. And we're going to be using the 3/4 flat brush. So if you guys have a wide flat brush, that's what we're going to be using to make our painting today. And it looks something like this. So this is the 3/4 flat brush. All right. Is there enough light? I need to add some more light to this setup. Let me put some light on. Make that a little bit brighter. There we go. All right, so while you guys are getting set up, let's go through the process. Let me kind of walk you through the process. So it's going to be about 4 layers to make this painting. And the first layer is going to look really streaky. So the object in the first layer is just to lay your colors down on the canvas. So as you can see, 1/2 of it is our first color, the darker color. Our darker color we're going to call color number 1. And our lighter color we're going to call color number 2. So it's going to be 1/2 and 1/2. Now the area that we're focusing on, that we're going to be blending on, is right in the middle. So in our second layer, we will begin to blend. So we don't blend in the first layer, we start blending in the second layer. And we don't overwork it. The painting still looks kind of streaky, but that's okay. We're just building up color. In the second layer, the third layer, it really starts to come together. We have a nice little blend going, or as my sister calls it, ombre. I don't know what that is. That must be like a beauty thing. It's such a nice ombre. She says I should make makeup. I make such wonderful skin tones. All right. And finally, in the fourth layer, we're gonna lay down a really thin layer of watercolor-like paint. And then we're gonna finish. So, is everybody ready? Does everybody have their colors, or do you need some more time? So in this, in figure number 5, I show you that while you're blending, you're really focused on a small area. You're not focused everywhere. It's about just this little sliver, it's about 1/3 of the area. You're gonna be focusing on that. Don't blend much further than that. Because when you're blending skin tone, it's not super blended. It's not really smooth. That's the reason why when I'm blending, I almost do like a crisscross pattern, or I go down at an angle. I can go up and down, but if you go up and down, it'll make a really clean blend, and the skin doesn't really work like that. I've seen some paintings where the face kind of looks plasticky because they blend it so perfectly. And while it's a beautiful thing to be able to blend perfectly, it's better that it's a little bit scattered. It's a little bit staggered, that it isn't super perfect. I just prefer that. All righty. These are the colors again. And if you're ready, we're gonna jump right in, okay? So as usual, we're gonna be using the wide brush this time. And it's much easier to blend with these wide brushes. It is, it really is. But I like painting with the round brushes. It just makes it look more like skin tone to me for some reason. It just feels that way. Let me erase a little bit. We're gonna get right into it. And while you're blending, you have to be quick because blending is a wet on wet technique. If the paint isn't wet, it won't blend properly. So you're gonna start off by, you're gonna dip your brush in water. You're gonna wipe it off because you don't want your brush to be soaking wet. And you know what? I haven't finished mixing my colors. Oops, I finished mixing my colors. I'm sorry, y'all. Let's get right to it. Got a little bit of umber. All right, that's burnt sienna. We got some Naples yellow. And I always mix my paints with a brush. You can use a palette knife. A palette knife is fine. I generally like to use a brush though, so. And also, add a few drops of water, just a few. And then we mix the colors up. All right, it's almost completely mixed. And you gotta mix the colors thoroughly. It'd be awful if you get streaks in your painting, you know? If we go to the darker color, we mix that up. All righty. Get it mixed properly. And we wipe our brush off. And we are ready to start. I'm just knocking stuff over today. All right. So let's start off with our darkest color first. And it's going to be 1/2 color number 1, the other half color number 2. So color number 1, we go in and we just spread this color out over your canvas. And I'm being sure to squeeze all of this paint out of my bristles. Alrighty. Now before I clean my brush off, I always wipe it off. Always wipe it off because you want to keep your water as clean as possible, you know? Otherwise your water gets very muddy, then you got to go change it, and it's just, you know, I don't want anything to take me away from the painting. That's why I pre-mix the paints. I normally have like a gigantic gallon of water, maybe 2 gallons. So while I'm painting, I don't have to move. I just stay where I'm at. All right. Now we're going to switch to color number 2. And again, we're just going to add it across the canvas. So it's not sliding as good as I would like. So I'm going to dip my brush in a little bit of water. I'm going to dab it off. And then I'm going to go back. All right, that's much better. Much better, much better. Your paint should be gliding across your canvas without a problem. And you want to get these colors close together. You're not blending, you're just getting them close together on the canvas. All right. And once we've done that, we are finished with our first layer. This is when it's good to have like a hair dryer or something to dry your canvas. You know, it'll make the process go by much quicker. So you're just gonna sit, you're gonna allow it to dry. And it's acrylic paint, it won't dry, you know, it dries pretty fast. It dries really, really fast. But sometimes it feels like it's not drying fast enough for me. This is where the patience comes in, and this is where understanding the process comes in, you know? The painting isn't finished until it's absolutely finished. And it doesn't look right until you're almost at the finish line. That's why we have to keep in mind the process so much. Because you're liable to quit, you know? You're liable to quit. The painting doesn't work until it absolutely works. All right, we're gonna give it a few more seconds to dry. All right, so let's do something, you know? I'll show you why we don't overwork paint. Now, it's still in the process of drying, right? If I was overworking it, this is what happens. The brush ends up picking up paint and it makes a light spot in your canvas, you know? That's why we don't overwork it. You might want to add more paint to it, but you're going to be doing nothing but mopping around paint on your canvas, you know? So you just have to just be patient and allow it to dry a little bit. If you're working with another medium, say like oils, it works a bit differently. It's just a little bit different, you know? It doesn't create light spots the way acrylic paint does. All right. We're just gonna wait for it to dry. It should take just another couple more minutes. And like I said, you got a hair dryer. It goes by a lot faster. Especially your there you go, fan it. There you go, get something and fan it. I think I'll do the same. You just get something and you kind of just fan it. Let it fan, whatever. This is when you feel like acrylic paint doesn't dry fast enough. And if it's humid, if it's really humid out, it keeps the paint wet for a longer amount of time. I used to use acrylic paint retarder or glazing medium. It keeps the paint wet for a longer amount of time. But I don't think that's going to be an issue this time around. Here we go. And I think it's drying up pretty good. It's drying up. Oh, this color's still pretty wet, so we'll give this just a few more minutes. Yeah, we'll give it just a few more minutes. Okay, so the purpose behind this little practice is blending is pretty difficult, so I try to teach it in stages. It's something that you have to practice continuously and constantly. Learning how to blend doesn't come a little at a time. It's almost like you have a eureka moment. You have a, okay moment. It just all clicks in your brain all of a sudden. So you really just have to practice and constantly practice until it kind of makes sense to you, you know? Yeah, I think the thing's pretty dry right now. Now, is your painting dry? Just give me a thumbs up to let me know, or is it still wet? A little bit? Okay. Okay. We just give it a little bit of time. We'll give it just a little more time. We'll give it a few more minutes. There you go, fanning. Good old fanning. So our next project after this is we're going to make a larger painting. We're going to paint Breonna Taylor. It's going to be a 16 by 20 canvas. So you'll probably need to get a 16 by 20 canvas. It's going to be 4 times this size. You know, it's easier to paint larger. It's just more time consuming. You know, it's just more time consuming, but it's easier because I paint small oftentimes, and it's almost like I'm painting with a toothpick, you know? Just painting really small and adding these tiny little details. And the reason why we're using a small canvas, it just takes more control to paint on a small canvas, you know? And control is something that we need. We need to have complete and total control over what we're doing with a paintbrush, you know? And I always say this, and it's so true. When you're able to write with a paintbrush like you do with a pencil or a pen, you've gained a tremendous amount of skill. All right. Now, our paintings should be dry by now. You know, are they? Are we dry? Is everyone pretty dry? Okay. Great, great, great. We're gonna jump into the next layer. So again, want to dip your brush in water just a little bit. Want to dab it on a paper towel, or you have a spare rag. And we're going to go in with color number 1, and we're going to begin to blend. So this is how we're going to do it. We're going to fill up this back area first. Okay? We're going to add paint to this back area first. And we're going to add paint to where we're going to blend at last, because blending is a wet on wet technique. If the paint isn't wet, it's just not going to blend. So here we go. Now we're going to add a little bit more color number 1. So we're just going to add it just right across here and make sure it overlaps over color number 2. And you're getting it just right over color number 2. All right, now you're going to wipe your brush off. You're going to clean the brush off. And then we're going to go into color number 2. Everybody at the stage where we're going to do color number 2? Or do we need a little more time? Seems like we need just a few minutes. So I'll give you just a little time. All right, now we're switching to color number 2. If you guys are ready, just give me a thumbs up. Okay. All righty. Okay. So we're gonna go on with color number 2, and we're just gonna get it close to color number 1. Just get it really close. I got some paint on the other side of the brush, so I'll flip it over. And we get the colors really close. All right. I just want you to kind of at an angle. We're just going to go like that. You're just painting it in at an angle. All right. We're done. I want you to wipe your brush off. And you're going to go again, same angle. You know, kind of paint where the line has formed. And after you've done that, you're going to fill in the rest of the space with color number 2. I hope it didn't go too fast. Okay.
Just wondering if this is,
I see.
just wondering if this is,
Hold on a second. Somehow my speaker's turned on. I'm sorry.
sorry, just wondering if this is the stage we should be at?
That's where we should be at. Yes.
Okay,
That's where we're at.
okay.
Now we just let it dry. Just let it dry. Let it dry. I'm gonna go ahead and fan mine also. Seems like a great idea. Now, I don't want you to overwork it, because if you start overworking it, you're gonna end up picking up paint, and we don't really need to, you know, just let it be what it is for right now. If there's any mistakes, we can correct them later. I'll show you how to correct these mistakes, you know. Right now, just let it dry, let it be. You just want to make sure that the colors actually, they overlap each other, because blending is just mixing paint on the canvas. Just like you mix the colors together, you're doing the same thing on the canvas, except you're doing it in a really precise kind of way, you know? What happens is you have one color here, color number one color here, color number 2, and in the middle where the color meet, that's color number 3. It makes a separate color. So that's what we're trying to do. There's gonna be a separate color right here. And that color serves as a transition between the first 2 colors. We'll talk later. I mean, we gotta let this thing dry completely. Let it dry, let it dry. It's really humid where I'm at, so this thing is drying really slowly. It's drying really slowly. Man, I used to think acrylic paint dried too slow until I started learning how to blend and all that. I mean, I used to think it dried too fast until I started learning how to blend and how to work it out. And now I think it dries too slow. Or maybe it's just this humid Louisiana weather that we're having, you know? Really, really humid weather. Still need a few more minutes. Lynn, inside your studio looks so fascinating. I just want to walk around inside your studio and touch things and look at all the paints and the paintings. It really does look fascinating.
It is full of wonderful, fun things.
I
And
can
mess.
see.
Lots of artist mess.
Oh yeah, it's the best kind of mess. Nobody understands it. All right. I still think it's a little bit wet. We're gonna give it a few more minutes. Just give it a few minutes, whatever.
I did that thing you said. I touched it when I shouldn't have and lifted up my blended color.
That's fine. That's fine. We could always fix that. What you need to do is, you know, while you're blending, you need to add a generous amount of paint to the area that you're blending in. Especially on these early layers, you add a generous amount of, not too much. You don't cake the canvas in paint, you know. You don't want the thing to look kind of crusty, but it's fine. We'll just work it out. We'll just figure, we can work it out. It's not a big deal. Yeah, but it just takes patience working with paint this thin, you know, because it doesn't really come together until it comes together. And like I was saying, I started off being an oil painter, and it was taking me months to make paintings. I mean, a month or 2, you know, because I was painting in these very thin layers. And I would have given up on acrylic paint, except, you know, I bought a tube and I was so cheap and, you know, I'm so persistent. I was like, yo, I'm going to find a way to make this thing work, you know, and it does. It works. It works just like oil paints, you know, and oftentimes that's what people say, is that an oil painting? Like, no, it's acrylic. It's just using the same kind of technique. But the thing is, you cannot dilute the acrylic paint too much with water, you know? What it does is it loosens the binder, and it just spreads the paint apart too much. Well, what happens is the paint ends up just flaking off the canvas. It doesn't really form a bond, you know? Like instead of adding water, you could always add a medium. You could find a medium to add to the paint, you know, instead of water. But I just like using water is okay. Just a little water is fine. Just not too much water. All righty. It is about that time for a break. I think this is a perfect time to just let it dry just a little bit more. We're going to jump back in. So we're going to take a 5-minute break. We can come back at 6:45. How's that sound, everybody? 6:45, we'll be back. Make that 7 minutes. I'll give you 2 extra minutes. All right. And if you have a hair dryer somewhere, this is a good time to go find it. So we're going to take a 7-minute break. Just grab yourself a drink. Go find yourself a hair dryer, you know.
Eric? Eric, can you hear me?
Yes. I can hear
This
you.
is Kelly. I was just wondering, I think I'm missing the part about blending the edge of the mixed color to the rest of the to left and right, if that makes sense.
Okay,
So
that makes
like,
sense. That does.
so see what I got here? I have 3 very distinct colors, right?
Right. So
Does that make
what you
sense?
do is, that makes perfect sense. So
Mhm.
after you've middle color, right?
Right.
Wipe the brush, and then you're gonna blend the edges where the
Oh,
colors
so you're gonna
meet.
blend that in to the middle.
Yes, you're gonna blend that into the middle, and you're gonna do
Okay.
the same on the other.
Okay. So what I have here can be redeemed, is what we're saying. I mean that it will blend. That's the whole process.
That's the whole process, right? That's the whole process.
Groovy. Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Right. But in general, you want the paint to be a little bit thinner when you're doing that.
I
Just a
know.
little bit.
I globbed it on a little bit, didn't I?
Yeah, you glob exactly.
It's a technical term. I like to use the word glob. Well, you know what happened is on my dark color, I went back and touched it up too quickly, and it did what you said, which was lift the paint up. So then I was like, well, I got to glob. But anyway.
Yeah, that's how you fix it. But
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you.
cool. No problem.
Eric, do you think you're going to give anyone a little break now, or are you going to keep them working all the way through?
We're actually on a break right now. She
Oh,
just had a
you are?
question.
You went ahead and took the break. Okay, well, look at you. It looks like everyone's working straight through the break. So, okay, very good. Kelly, how do you like that video when he talks about working on the mega mural? That's got to bring back some good memories for you.
We had a moment last week, or when was it? Thursday of last week, when, you know, I felt like I had this epiphany. I'm like, that's Eric, right?
Yes.
And I made this connection, but then of course, I guess I probably heard that in the video in the opening moment, you know, the first session. So I thought it was my incredible memory, but it was
Yes.
probably planted in a seed. But
Well,
no, it's really cool.
I thought it might be your recall of how all of you artists signed the mural, and that you were recalling his special signature in some way.
Oh no, I had totally forgotten about that actually.
All right. Well, it looks like everybody's having fun. I'm appreciating that we finally have the technology, hey Lynn, to be able to watch the visual and hear the performance at the same time. So we have 2 meetings going on, and it's fun to feel like you're right in the heart of both of them. But it looks like we're having a great time.
So who's teaching over at Southern now?
In visual art,
Yeah.
Edward Allen.
Oh,
Remember Edward from Cattle Magnet?
duh, of course.
Yeah.
So that's been a minute. I didn't quite realize so did he leave directly from Magnet and go to Southern?
No, he actually took off a year attempting to retire, thinking that he was really ready for retirement. And then
Okay.
Southern talked him into coming out of retirement and going over there. Woodrow Evans has also been doing a little bit of adjunct teaching at Southern, but
Oh, good.
less than Edward Allen. Yeah.
Okay. I cannot imagine Woodrow painting because I always see him and his shoes are impeccable, and I'm thinking, or his clothing, right? And I'm the one who's like, right, I have to wear a shirt to, because I'm going to get it all over myself. But some people are meticulous. I am not one of them.
That's a good point. All right. Well, it's great to see everyone. If you haven't signed in, Lynn, did you say hello in the chat yet? Just really helps us with remembering that we had an audience and a crowd. So if you get a chance, just sign in the chat so we know. And I did put in there, when you all can, do fill out that survey. It's very fast. You just click that link in the chat, but it will help us know how to do better and what might be coming next for us in the way of involving more artists in this form of Zooming and teaching in this way, since we can reach so many more people in this way. All right, well, I'll let Eric have it back. Just wanted to say hello, and Eric, you're really a great timekeeper. That's wonderful.
Oh, somebody sent me a message. I would have completely blanked. I believe it was somebody sent me a message. Okay, guys, are we ready to go? Let's jump right in. So we're gonna go back in with color. I'll go back in with color number 1. Yeah. Back edge. And don't worry if the paint looks streaky. It shouldn't look completely solid at this point, you know? We're gonna fill out the rest of the space. We're gonna use a generous amount of paint this time. Just a generous amount of paint on your brush. And we're going to just cover over what we just did. So we're going right over it. We gotta make sure we overlap the colors. And as you can see, it just comes together. It just comes together, you know? That's why you can't rush the process. It might be a little bit difficult right now, but eventually it all comes together. All right, so we clean our brush off, we wipe it off, we switch to color number 2, and keep just a generous amount of paint on the brush, and we go right in. Now, I'm not gonna blend it completely. I'm gonna go right up to the line this time, okay? And make sure there's enough paint on the canvas to blend. Now, I'm gonna wipe the brush off. And we're gonna go in and we're gonna begin to blend. So we're blending the colors together. And as you can see, when color number 1 mixes with color number 2, it forms a third color. That third color serves the transition between the first 2 colors. All right? I'm gonna wipe the brush off just a little bit. It's still a little bit dirty, but we're gonna soften up the edges where these 2 colors meet. I'm gonna wipe the brush off again, and I'm gonna soften up the edges where the other 2 colors meet. Then we're gonna go in and finish off the rest of this area. We're adding color number 2. This is our third layer. It's somewhat be coming together right now. Right. And we let it dry. Let it dry. Can everyone see what I'm doing okay?
Yes. So are we, Eric, can you hear me?
No.
Yes,
Oh, you can?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, I hear you.
So we just did wet into wet, is that correct? I mean, we put wet paint over the wet paint that we put down?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, cool. I've never done that with acrylic. I've never done anything with acrylic. It's really hard to use.
It takes some getting used to. It does. It takes some getting used to. But
Eric, I may have missed a step. I'm making more of a mess than a blend.
okay, let's see.
So not sure if you can see the mess. I'm finding that I'm going too far in here, maybe because I'm supposed to be washing the brush between strokes.
Yeah, you're going far. And
Because you
here's what you do. Is the paint still wet?
Yes.
If the paint is right, I just want you to clean your brush off. Just clean your brush off.
Mhm.
Right where you that dark line, right where you see there's a line, like you see there's a line over here separating the 2 colors.
Where I was originally at the half?
No, just right here, right into here. You see how right into here there's like a little line?
There?
Right there, yes.
There.
Clean the brush off and just go over it softly.
Like this?
Just like that, yes. Just
Okay.
like that. It's going to
Okay.
begin to, yeah. And you're going to be using very soft, just soft, feathery brush strokes.
Okay.
You just want to mop the colors together in a kind of way.
Yeah.
You know?
And
You
then,
press that, pick it up. Bam. Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but so then on the light side, on the lighter side, were we to add more wet paint to that after we did the middle?
Yes, add more wet paint to that.
Okay.
side. All right, I'm going to go ahead and mix some more color together. Mix some more. Just take your time, no rush. If this is the first time you're doing it, like, you know, have you ever done anything for the first time perfectly? You know, we have to be really, I mean, you have to treat yourself nicely, is what I like to tell people. Treat yourself nicely. It's the first time you're working with acrylic, you know, or it's the first time you're seeing this kind of technique maybe. Treat yourself nicely. Be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up. It'll work out. It always. I've shown a lot of people how to paint. It will work out. It works. It'll come together. But the thing is, you're gonna have to practice a little bit, or a lot of it, a little bit or a lot of it. You know, because we're going so fast. It's hard to really learn a lot. You know, you learn when you're in your studio. You know, and you're getting frustrated, and you want to throw the thing across the room, and you don't give up on it. You just keep working on it until you go, okay. But right now, you're just picking up the technique. And the thing that you also have to understand is everybody who's ever painted had to go through this process. Everybody. It doesn't matter how great or how bad the painter is, they had to go through that process. We all got to go through it, you know? Right, my painting is about dry. I'll give you guys a few more minutes. I'm gonna mute. I have my hair dryer on standby. I don't think you want to hear my hair dryer right now, so let me mute. Alrighty, I think my canvas is pretty dry. Does everyone have a dry canvas? Just want to kind of touch it in the corners, make sure that the paint is all dried up. Not, I'll just give you guys another couple minutes, you know, just another few minutes. Let it dry off. And right about now, the painting should be coming together somewhat. It should somewhat be coming together, you know. It's not all the way right, but it should be coming together a little bit.
Eric, I definitely think I'm using my paints too thick. And so can you talk one more second about consistency?
Sure. So the paint should look streaky because you added a few drops of water to your paint. So it should be a bit streaky. I'm gonna paint right across the bottom of this canvas and I'll show you. Let me slide this thing over. So the paint should naturally be streaky. So I wet my brush and I don't fill my brush up too much. Now this is a really full brush. So one side, I swipe it. So, you know, not much paint. The other side has extra paint. It should be streaky when you go across, okay? You flip it over, still streaky.
I see. So it's almost what I would consider like a wash in a way.
Yes, very much like a wash. Very much.
So what you're doing is multiple thin layers like that.
Exactly. Multiple thin layers like that. So
what's happening is my, you know, and it's also not drying well in between because it's too thick.
it's too thick. Yeah, it's going to take a while to dry because it's so thick.
Gotcha.
As you add layers, it starts to get a bit thick. I should let it dry a little bit more, but as you add layers, it begins to
Get
darken.
darker.
But you have to let it
Get darker.
It does this. When it completely dries, it just gets darker. But it's multiple thin washes of paint.
Okay. Gotcha. Thanks. Gotcha. Thanks.
You're welcome. And feel free to chime in anytime, guys. If you have any questions, just go ahead and jump in. If your canvas is dry, we can start on this next layer.
I'm
And
not
as you can
sure
see,
if I'm
there's
the
still
only
some
one.
streaky
I'm not
marks.
sure if I'm the only one. Your screen looks like it froze while you were brushing and it hasn't changed since. So I'm not sure if I'm the only one that sees this.
Okay, I'll go ahead and fix it. Let's see. These technical difficulties. Let's go here. There we go. Okay. Let's see. Modern technology. You gotta love it. Modern technology. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So I want you guys to take a look and see what I'm gonna do. So we're gonna go, of course, we're gonna start off with color number one. Just gonna add some to this back area. And the paint should be sliding really smoothly across the canvas because you built up a lot of paint. All right, we're gonna go ahead and add some more paint to right where we're gonna blend, and we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna somewhat cover the area. Not all the way, just somewhat. You still see a little blending going on right here. I'll wipe the brush off. Switch to color number 2. And I'm getting the color really close. I'm just unloading paint from my brush right now before I begin to blend. Because if I have too much paint on the brush, it's gonna blend it too much in one direction. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wipe my brush off. I didn't clean the brush, I just wiped it off, so it's still a little bit dirty. I'm gonna go in right where the colors meet and we begin to blend. Basically mixing colors. And I'm using a soft, feathery brush stroke. Just a very soft brush stroke. And this color is going too far into here. I just flip it over and we do it like that. I just flip the brush right over. And as we go further into here, I wipe the brush off again. I didn't clean it, I just wiped it off. We're gonna go right into here. Again, now I'm gonna clean the brush off. So I cleaned it with water this time. I'm gonna add the rest of this color. So we go right back here and just add the rest of this color. Oof, cannot see, look at that. I'm sorry about that. The thing just unfocused. It's on my hand instead of on the painting. That's a problem. All right, and you might want to come back in here a little bit and just a little bit. And there we go. There you have it. And we just let it dry. Let it dry, let it dry, let it dry. And it should take a few minutes.
I can see why working larger is easier.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to work larger, a lot easier. But you learn a lot of control when you're working smaller. That's why we're working small. Those little, you know.
So I think about
Like-
that sphere, you know, the sphere we're gonna do, I guess, next. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm intimidated. So I might have to do it.
Yeah, you might have to do some homework, definitely. Most people don't get the sphere the first time around. Most people. Generally, it takes a couple of times before you get the hang of it. And that's really the most difficult thing you'll ever have to blend, because it's nothing but curves. It's just curve after curve after it's. But once you understand that, you pretty much understand how to blend colors on the face. Like if you're doing the forehead, it just makes sense to you how something goes from dark to light, you know? And it won't be that much colors when you're blending a forehead, or you're doing an eye, or, you know, you're doing around the chin, how the neck goes from dark to light, or how the face just goes from light to dark. It just makes sense to you. So when you're looking at something, you have like a frame of reference, you know? Like if I'm looking at somebody's face and I'm thinking about painting them, I just understand how to do it. I just understand how to do it because I've done it so much.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And that's kind of what I'm trying to get you guys to learn. It's not something I can really teach, how you make that switch in your mind. You look at a picture and you go, okay, I'm going to use these colors. I'm going to use this dark color over here, and I'm going to use this light color over here. That's kind of what I'm trying to get you to understand. So like all the little things that we're doing now is in preparation for the portrait. Because the problem is, right, when people learn how to paint, they're painting these things that they love and that are really beautiful, but they struggle with the technique. They're struggling with technique because they, you know, nobody really takes the time to practice before they jump in. They just jump in. So you're basically learning how to paint while you're painting something that's very precious and special to you. So you're nervous the whole time, and what are the chances it's going to work out if you're completely nervous? It's probably not going to work out. It's not going to be good. You know, it's a tough pill to swallow, but you know, you have to work yourself through it. Otherwise, the way I like to teach is practice, keep practicing, keep practicing, keep practicing. Then you take what you learn to the portrait, and your chances for success are much greater that way.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Eric, do you think there's any value in doing kind of working blending with drawing before you jump into painting, or you just think it's a total, I mean, I know it's a totally different process, but can you learn something that's going to help you at least with the seeing?
Yes, absolutely. Man, I always want to teach people to draw before I teach them how to paint, but they don't want to do that. So,
Right.
but like some of the more successful students were people who knew how to draw. And
Right.
because they're just transferring what they know over to something else. Like they understand colors blending. Like if you worked with color pencils before you work with paint, you have a certain amount of understanding about how colors mix and how they blend. And you have these certain expectations, you know?
Right.
That's how got me painting. I was doing drawings. I was doing color pencils and I was just frustrated because I couldn't get to choose my colors, you know? Whatever
Right.
color you get, pencils what you got to use. But, you know, but yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Absolutely. Just
Okay.
understanding lights and shadows makes a world of difference.
Right. Because it's as much about seeing as it is, I mean, and then you can deal with the technical aspects, right?
Right. It's all seeing. It's all what's happening inside your brain. That's why I try to talk you through it first so you can get like a general idea of what's about to happen. Like it's easy to get a general idea watching. Just teaching your hands how to do what you see is where the difficulty comes in. And that's where you have to practice these, you know, you have to paint these two colors together like this. It just, you know, you just have to
Yeah.
teach your hands what your brain already knows.
I forget how important light is. I was in such a rush to get set up that I just had the windows open. And I
Oh.
like reached around for craft lights because it's getting dark in here.
It's getting done. Right. I got these studio lights on.
So you're on fire over there.
Well, no, I got LED lights are amazing. They don't
Oh,
give
that's
off
good.
heat.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That is amazing.
Godsend.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the studio, it's perfect lighting conditions. I just close my curtains, I turn on these lights, and it's this hour all the time.
Consistency. I'm hearing that in you. Consistency is important.
Consistency is very important, especially the way you set up. You should set up the same way every time. I used to make myself a checklist for when I finished and when I began, you know? So I had a checklist. I have to wash the brushes. I got to put the paint up. But the finishing checklist was okay. I have to straighten out the area. I have to make sure all the paints are lined up perfectly. So when I sat down, I was ready to paint. I didn't like sitting down, then I got to go run find a brush. I got to go find this paint. No, I got to be ready as soon as I sit. It just works. It puts you in the right frame of mind to paint, you know?
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you on this one, because again, I went too thick and my paint's pulling up in areas and it keeps doing that. So when this fully dries, can you just sand canvas? You know, I've got a hard canvas. It's like cardboard bound, you know what I mean? Can I just kind of scuff it up to go back over it?
You can, or you could gesso it, or I mean to paint over it, to keep painting over it.
Right.
You can, no, you can just paint over it. You can paint over it just like that. Just
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
Sometimes more minutes. All righty. This thing is still drying because the paint was a little bit thicker this time. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna dry it off with this hair dryer so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so we're gonna do this last layer of paint. And here's what I do. If you want to make the paint look extra smooth, you know, because it's blended okay, but you can make this thing look super smooth. So let me put this palette on top and show you what I'm doing. So I just add a little extra water, just a couple of drops, right? And let's do that for this color. A couple extra drops. All righty. And what I do now is I thin out the paint a bunch. How thin this paint is, it's a lot thinner. I don't thin out all the paint, just a little bit, just more. So you're gonna thin out, oh man, I let these colors mix. Clean my brush off really good. Okay, so you thin out the paint just a bit, a couple of drops. You're gonna thin the paint out slow. Right? This is if you want to make it look super smooth. So I'm gonna go in, wipe my brush off, I'm gonna go in, and with that very thin layer of paint, I'm going to blend. This will make the thing look super smooth. It'll make your blend look a lot cleaner. So the paint is super thin right now, or thinner than before. Okay. Now we're going with color number 2. So we got both colors on there. Wipe my brush off. We're gonna blend it super thin. Makes a really nice blend. So I'm using very short, I'm not pressing heavy, I'm just gliding across the colors. Wipe my brush off again. I'm gonna blend that area in. Oh. And that really cleans up your blending. It makes it look super clean. It gets a lot cleaner. I'm just gonna finish off with the rest of this color. Oh, let's make it better. And if it's not clean enough, you can do another layer like that and it gets even cleaner. You can make a super, super clean blend. It's not too perfect looking. Like I say, the skin isn't that perfect, but it makes it a super, super clean blend. A little bit more of this. And that is basically it.
And it doesn't matter if you go from dark on the left to light on the right, right? Because I know you're left-handed, so.
No, it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter.
It's one of the preference. Yeah, I just prefer to do it that way. But it doesn't matter. I just go from dark color to light color. And I did it differently this way because I know most people are right-handed, so I normally go that way this time.
Right.
But here's an example of, this is exactly what we're doing. I'm gonna show you what we're doing, but I'm gonna do it with thicker paint. So I'm just gonna put a glob of blue. It's a lot of blue. I'll put a glob of blue right here. All right. So when we're blending, we're taking, basically we're taking this color, okay?
Mm-hmm.
See how that, let me wipe my brush off. I have too much paint on my brush. Let me just put that right here. Wipe my brush off, and then we're gonna mix it in with this color. Right where the colors meet,
Right.
it forms that third color. Now we're doing this over many thin layers, but it's the same. As you build up the layers, they become this solid and this thick. Let me wipe my brush off. See all this paint on the brush. I don't want to carry all this color into here. So you wipe the brush off.
So you keep it over on the right side. Gotcha. Oh, yeah. Nice.
Start to blend. But we're doing this over a lot of thin layers.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't like this kind of texture in my painting.
Mm-hmm.
I like it rather like it this smooth instead of having it this thick.
Right. But say for an artist who works with visible brushstrokes, that is a possibility.
Feel free to do it. And the thing is, once you understand the technique, you get to do what you want.
Yeah.
This time, you can use thin paint. You can whatever you want to do. You know.
But that might be really interesting, like homework, because you could do it the thin way and the thick way, and maybe you'll figure out which way you do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
My thing is, I'm working with a lot of creative people. I know you're just gonna do it your way at some point. At some point, you're just gonna, you know. I understand that. I don't like to squash people's creativity. You gotta do it the way you like.
And the main thing is you just don't want to overwork it when you're blending it.
You do not want to Okay, so look what happens when I overwork this. I just clean my brush off. It just lifts up the color. It just lifts it up, and now I struggle to try to fix that. No, just leave that alone. Let it dry. If you've done this, let it dry. Leave it alone. The next layer is going to cover it a little bit more.
Okay. Patience. Patience is a virtue. All right, guys, we got 10 more minutes. Do we have any questions? Anything at all? Do you mind giving us, so next time are we doing the sphere? We're doing the sphere. We're doing the sphere. Okay. I'm not intimidated at all, Eric, not at all.
Oh. I have done your sphere, the one that you have in one of your tutorials. I actually enjoy doing that.
Awesome. So she enjoyed doing it. Great. Did it work for you? Did it work okay for you? The sphere? It worked just fine?
I'm sorry, I didn't get what you said.
No, I'm saying it worked fine for you. That's good.
It did. I was surprised.
Okay.
So just because I'm probably the only person here who's not an artist, it was in my early discovery, and that's how I came across these videos. And to learn these techniques, that's what I did. I followed your videos, and when I did your sphere, I really enjoyed it. And after I discovered I enjoy portraits, that's how I understood how it all comes together.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
So Eric, can I ask you, so Pam said the assignments that you did first, the first two for this class, they're on Facebook? Is that on the?
Yes, that's correct. You can find it through, yes, they should be on Facebook. I haven't actually seen them, but you can go.
Instagram.
We have a website set up. Let me find it. The email address. Let me open this thing up. I have it saved. Okay. So.
Eric, I don't think I got the website email.
Okay. Let me click on this. I'll type it in the description. It's all right. Let me get this for you. Get this for y'all. All right. So it's hbcuartisthomecoming.com, and I have it inside the chat. So if you look inside the chat, you'll see it there.
Great.
And that tells you about the classes and everything else that we have going on.
Okay.
And you should be able to link through there.
So I'm not seeing what part of the chat, or I don't understand what I'm looking for. Because I am on that website. I've been looking on that website. I don't see, is it the attachments that you're mentioning? Because I know the supplies. On that page.
There should, on that page, there should be a link. That's what Pam was saying. Because I know, I'm going to check out the website, but I didn't see the link for the Facebook. That's the Facebook. I was supposed to send you guys some information. I need to get you guys email so I could really send it to you then. I'm going to figure. I need to get everyone's email.
Because on the calendar, that's where we have the supply list. But not the handouts.
Okay. I do not see it. I need to get that information out to everybody. Well, you can actually find the, you can find this on Facebook. I don't see it here. I don't see it here. I'll have to ask Pam about it.
Eric, the Instagram, you can go to the main page on the Instagram. And in that bio, you can pull up the video.
Yes, you can pull up videos about yeah, you can go to Instagram, and I have some videos linked there, so you can see what everything that we did before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Arden, I'll send them to you because I know I can find you.
Yeah.
Yeah, your Instagram was the easiest way to get to the link.
All righty. Do you guys have any more questions? I think this is about it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you too. I'm so glad you're here. I'm gonna put my email inside the chat.
Okay, don't forget everybody, some of you came on a little late. Monday night, Kababi Balak, who is going to be here to do his form of portraiture and large-scale mural work, and how he started off with caricatures and now moves into another style of portraiture. He's going to be showing you his work and talking about his specific techniques and focusing a little bit on his sense of entrepreneurism and what it means for an artist to, the various ways that an artist can work as a fine artist. And then Eric will be back on Tuesday. And I will just say, if you get a chance, I know you're all visual artists, but visually and dramatically. Wednesday night. Oh, there's a bad echo, I'm sorry. But on Wednesday night, Brenda Wimberly, who is a classical musician, opera star, international opera performing star, but she is going to do an incredible session singing and performing and sharing the story of the history of the Negro spirituals, and particularly talking about the music genre, how it's performed, and she will be performing as well as sharing some of the other performers as well. It's another long workshop. Well, no, it's not. I'm sorry. Monday night is 6 to 9 p.m. Tuesday with Eric is all too short, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Wednesday with Brenda Wimberly is 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Then Thursday, we're back with Eric from 6 to 7:30 p.m. So we'll hope to see you all next week. In the meantime, have a great weekend and thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.